We're gathered here today for another episode of You Don't Love Giant Robots.
Anime Review Edition.
Yes. Horny Boys Plus Edition.
No. Do not listen to him. Do not listen to him. I'm disregard.
Have your Viagra.
Disregard.
On
Disregard.
the bedstand.
I don't know this man. He just came into this house. This is my house. He just walked in here.
This is the horny episode.
Anyways, so welcome to the NHK. 24 episode anime. The manga was created in 2002. You like how I did that?
So Zeke, you recommended this show to me.
I did recommend this show to you. I watched this show at a very important time in my life.
That's nice to know. Yes, this show.
8th grade.
So let's give a. So welcome to the NHK. What we're talking about. Let's give a brief.
You keep doing that. It seems like you don't know what you want to say. You're like, let's.
All right. Okay.
I'm gonna.
All right. We're doing welcome to the NHK. Let's give a brief recap.
Okay.
I'm halfway through the show.
You tell me the recap.
I watched it because you sang high praises.
I did, and I still will. I don't care what you say because we know your JoJo opinion. So
it's Sato Tatsuki. It's based on a book about a man who realizes that he is a loser.
Exactly.
And he believes he's a loser not because of any fault of his own, but because of a conspiracy, a global conspiracy to ruin his life. And it's about him meeting a girl that gradually brings him out of his shell.
Does she?
And allows him to realize, I think, that he doesn't need to be the shut-in that he has been.
Mm.
Unless there is a twist looming.
I don't know. Keep watching the show. We'll find out. We can talk about where you're at up to this point, though.
All right.
I'm cool with that.
So I went into this show not sure what it was. I was like, what's this going to be? Is this going to be about like a magical hamster who needs to go back in time to save his wife? Or
no, it's better.
Is this a giant robo show? And more so than anything, and this is what you have a lot to answer for, I watched this. I sat down with my girlfriend.
Oh, wait. You watched this with your girlfriend?
And she said...
Why would you do... No, that's not my fault.
She said
that's not my fault.
Issues with anime is that it's always sexualizing women,
Look,
particularly younger women.
Listen.
And I said, baby, listen, we're watching To Your Eternity. You know, we're having fun. We're watching Kaguya-sama.
Hold on. No, we're stop. That's your fault for watching it with your girlfriend. I told you the show was weird. I prefaced it. I was like, this show is crazy. This show is weird, but it's really deep too.
Okay, spoilers for the first 10 episodes of Welcome to the NHK starting now. But Zeke, the second episode of this is about a man trying to take pictures of like middle school girls' panties.
He's a loser.
I was thinking on my feet so fast with every frame of this show. I had to explain myself. I had to put on my 3-piece lawyer suit and give a dissertation for every frame. I was like, well, I'm sure that there's like a message in here. I'm sure that we're trying to like...
No, so the thing about the Welcome to the NHK is there's some episodes where there is a message and there's a deeper meaning. And there's some episodes where you just watch this dude being a complete loser degenerate for no reason just because he's a loser degenerate.
So, okay... I understand setting a stage here. We need to show that our main guy Sato is a loser. We need to show he's down in the dumps. And I admire the commitment.
They really do. Because
commitment, because a lot of shows pull their punches when they want to make their character a scumbag.
Well, because they don't really make him a scumbag per se. They make him do some crazy stuff. Well, not in this show. In this show for sure. But in most other shows you're talking about, they're kind of like skate past it a little bit, but this dude is a legitimate horrible person, horrible dude, skates all responsibility for his own life choices by saying it's a conspiracy, right? And you see that a lot.
Yeah, a lot of times it's like, what's the bad thing in your past that you're trying to hide? And it's like, my team was deployed in Cambodia, and I gave them bad information by accident, and I was too proud to admit that I was wrong, and then my team died on my watch.
This nigga got embarrassed, went to school, and decided to let it ruin his life.
Yeah, it's this man though, Sato. Credit where it's due, he is despicable.
No, yeah,
so
the thing about it is, right? Because when I watched this show, the reason it resonated with me so much, right? This was like 8th grade, and I was a horrible person. No, I had like no friends. I didn't talk to anybody. I hated myself.
You were jerking off all the time?
Oh, dude, I was in 8th grade.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, what am I saying?
But
I'm sorry, that was improper of me to say.
No.
In a,
it was a correct assumption.
No,
it was a correct
admit
assumption.
my mistakes. It was wrong for me to.
The anti Sato. But it was at a point in time where I really did feel like I was a scumbag. So at the time I watched the show, as weird as it is, I did relate to this character. Like 8th grade me related to this character heavily in a lot of different degrees. As far as like unable to connect with people is really hard. Like you see it a lot, especially when he tries to go outside and he can't really. Is it picking us up?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, especially when
Zoomed out super far.
when he would go outside and he wouldn't be able to like stand the fact that there were other people around him. Or when who was it? When Misaki and her grandmother knocked on his door and he kind of just like didn't really know how to talk to them. He's kind of just like I don't know. And that's the point in time that I was at in my life, as far as like how I was going with things. I'm like, oh my goodness, this dude is literally me. Like this dude is literally me. Now obviously looking back now, because I'm rewatching it as well as you're watching it, I'm like, man, this nigga's horrible. like they need to put him in like a mental asylum or something.
Let's like lay some groundwork here, because this is a thing that comes up all the time, and we got to just put it as a big disclaimer, like this is a pack of cigarettes on the front of the episode, is that, guys, the age of consent laws in Japan are different than here.
Well, even until recently, it was like
13.
Yeah, I think something like that, and now it's 16.
And as a result, and this book was written in 2002.
Yes. And the anime was created in 2006. It's a little dated.
It's not a matter of being dated. It's just a matter of like, whenever people in America who are like iffy about that stuff, you know, we're like hard 18 and stuff, and it's like, you can start drinking in England at like 16 or some shit.
Yeah.
And then it gets weirder as you get farther and farther into Asia. It gets a little weirder and dicier with some of that stuff.
Especially when you get like places like Bangladesh and stuff like that. It's kind of.
And yet still, the main character of this is a man who is described within the bounds of this own world as pedophilic.
Yes. So, because the thing about it is when I watch, because that's why I said there's a lot of stuff I missed when I first watched the show. Because looking back now, I'm like, yeah, this dude.
Well, you were in 8th grade, so you're like,
Yeah.
8th grade girls are hot.
Guys, it's so. I mean, granted, yeah, because I was like, that's why, like, when I prefaced the show to you, and I was like, there's certain things I missed in the show, but I also told you it was weird. Okay, I prefaced that to you. That is not my fault that you watched it with your girlfriend. That's on you. That is on you.
Whoa.
Next time I suggest a show, I'll be like, this is girlfriend safe. All right? I'll let you know if it's girlfriend safe or not.
Safe for work, safe for women.
Yeah, exactly. But
no, I don't. I appreciate what my issue is for a lot of American women. I don't know if this is a cultural difference, but this man took one step past where the redemption arc is allowed in America.
yes,
This is like having someone use the hard R.
that's not that bad.
No, but I'm saying it's one thing to have a character. It's like, oh, Final Fantasy, we fought this guy, then we beat him, and then he joined the crew, and now he used to be evil, and he's not
This
anymore.
nigga literally committed crimes against humanity. We're not letting him back. Like,
If Zuko in like Avatar was to be like, we gotta kill that airbender, he's a fucking, and then insert whatever like racial term here, it wouldn't be like, oh, Zuko. You would always kind of have an issue with Zuko being on the team.
yeah.
You'd be like, well, he also though thinks we're like
So-
less than him.
But so this is the part where I'm gonna insert my knowledge of knowing what's going to happen into. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'm just going to say, right, the fact that they are characterizing him in such a negative light, like their own main character, I think is an important thing, because I think it's more realistic to what most people either feel like or actually are, right? Because nobody cares about most redemption arcs, quote unquote, because the characters there are some good ones, but the character doesn't do anything that you wouldn't really not forgive under any circumstance, right? And as far as this show goes, especially the more you watch it, he's going to commit some actions to say things and act certain ways where you're kind of just like, bro, this dude is just a horrible person. So it makes what is going to happen even that much more important, because it's realistic enough to be like, yeah, Like, we recognize the character's a horrible person, and it even says it in the show in multiple different ways, right? So it's no surprise that this dude is a horrible person, and then how people treat him outside, or how he thinks people treat him outside of when he walks outside of his house. It's like, yeah, there's a reason, right? He doesn't just feel this way just because he's like has anxiety or he just has some mental disorder. He feels it because he knows he's a horrible person. And he's done horrible things. Now, it might have started out where it was like, yeah, it was just in his head, but now he's become the person that his inner demons wanted him to be.
Yeah, and it is interesting that, like, in the pursuit of trying to be certain that his first friend that he makes, basically.
Oh, you're talking about Senpai?
I'm talking about Yamazaki.
Oh, his neighbor.
Yeah, when
Dude,
in pursuit,
I love that nigga Yamazaki. He is the best character. He has the best lines in the show. I don't care.
In the pursuit of trying to find out if Yamazaki really has a girlfriend, newsflash, he doesn't. But he ends up like going out and socializing, meeting people, actually putting himself out there. All right. Have you look? I gotta preface all of this with this. Have you seen A Silent Voice?
Oh yeah.
You've seen Silent Voice?
Oh yeah.
Okay, because this is what I was saying to my girlfriend. Because once again, I'm in episode 2, 3, and 4 are literally just a dude discovering porn, dude.
Bro, listen.
It is a guy jerking off, going
I'm telling
through tissue
you,
boxes.
there's a reason.
And I respect it.
There's a reason 8th grade me like resonated with this. Like, I'm telling you, like and that's why I had to preface, like, when I first watched this show, it was a different point in my life. Okay, and looking back, watching it now, I'm just kind of like, man, how look how I've changed. Sorry, you continue your point.
It's the mincingness of it. It's the diabolical ways he's trying to peep panties.
Well, so when you're actually, whether it be peeping panties or doing anything else, when you're actually like a horrible person and you don't really care about redemption and you're kind of just doing things because you feel like it and you want to, those are the type of brain loops you get stuck in, where you think of more and more diabolical ways to get to what you want.
You're allowed to horn dog it without taking pictures of people's.
No, I'm not. I'm agreeing with you, but I'm telling you,
but him
having those like diabolical, like calculated thoughts about something so insane like this is yeah. When you're a horrible person, that happens.
Yeah, it's such a fun. I'm not gonna continue to litigate. Is Sato like he's too bad of a guy for a story?
Is Sato like the author for Rurouni Kenshin?
Like, I get it. It's like I truly can respect that. It's like I need Sato to be a bad guy, not like a down on his dumps guy who just
dude.
Oh, my bank account only has like $300 in it. It's like, no, we need this to be a guy who's like lying to his mother,
who's unlikable,
who's stealing food from his best friend, and who's trying to hide in the bushes and do something that would throw you right into a jail cell in America.
Because I'm telling you, the episode I asked you about that you weren't at yet, it gets to a point where you start to recognize that the reasons why his life is the way it is because of him, right?
Yeah,
and even the parts where he's like, oh, this has to be the NHK, it's literally just his inner voice in his head trying to escape responsibility for all the horrible things that he does.
So I love the conceit of him thinking that there's not just an organization trying to destroy his life, but he
pretty much thinks he's getting gang stalked all the time.
He thinks it's the Japanese equivalent of like Disney or whatever. Like I looked up, like NHS is like just like the Japanese broadcasting company or something in Japan. Like their name in the show means basically the.
Are you talking about NHK?
Yeah, their name in the show basically means the like Japanese anti-social society or something. But because he keeps calling himself a hikikomori.
Yeah, hikikomori and neat. Yeah, so that's
like Japanese for like anti-social loser.
Pretty much.
Incel.
Yeah.
And so he thinks he's being stalked by basically the Japanese incel society, but apparently NHS in Japan is literally they're like the CNN or the
NHS or NHK. It's NHK.
Or NHK, yes.
NHK, yeah.
Yeah, and so I thought it was interesting that because I've met people tinfoil hat motherfuckers.
I'm a tinfoil hat dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Who think that people are trying to like destroy their lives?
No, they are. No, they are. Disregard what he's saying. The NHK is real. They are watching you. They are taping everything you're doing, and every bad thing that happens is because of NHK.
I've met so many guys in cover bands who will tell you that the reason their band never took off is because the music industry is bought and paid for.
Well,
and it's not 100% fake.
False, but it's like it does take some degree of work. So this is why I really got to know what you think when you finish a show, because one of the main things that you start to see throughout this whole show, with more than just Sato's character, is that the circumstances that you're put in are completely because of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you didn't make it this far in life, or whether you didn't do this, or whether you can't achieve certain things, or you feel like you're not doing what you need to be doing. It's literally you. Like, you decide what you do with your life. That is it. And that is one of the main points in Welcome to the NHK, where it's like, yeah, it's very easy to escape personal responsibility and make up a bunch of excuses as to why your life is the way it is. Or you could be like, you know what? I made this mistake, or this happened, and yeah, it was unfortunate, but because I did this is why that happened.
Yeah. All right. So moving on beyond, like, the basic premise of the show, these are my, like, structural issues with it. And this is a product of the time it's from. Because this show is rife with a trope, but it's a few years before people really started calling this out as a trope.
Which one?
Are you familiar with the term manic pixie dream girl?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm fully aware. You talking about Misaki?
I'm talking about just, all right, Tomino, the guy who created Gundam.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned this before. He has this whole beef with Makoto Shinkai, where he thinks Makoto Shinkai is not that great of a director. And his reasoning being that there's a trend lately in Japanese anime where men are passive actors in romance. They aren't active participants in romance. Romance is like a thing that happens around them.
I mean,
like you bump into a girl, and then the whole movie or the whole show is about like a guy building up the courage to ask the girl out on a date. Okay. Or it's all about, but you never see the guy just ask the girl out, take her home, lay down that pipe. You know what I'm talking about, that good spread, brothers.
What is this dude talking about?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm actually a virgin. I've only read about women in dictionaries.
Oh, Sato. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yeah,
you want to take some pictures in the park later? But, yeah, so Tomino has this whole hate rant he goes on about Shinkai in anime where the male character ostensibly just gets the girl kind of by accident because they are like around each other. And this anime is rife with that. Every female interaction that occurs in this anime is not because our main character's like, I need to fucking fix this busted life I'm living where I'm running out of tissues to jerk into. I can't have my mom come over because the floors are littered with lean cuisines. And yet, all of the main driving things that change our character are basically things that happen to him, not things he does. He runs into Yamazaki. He runs into Misao. And Misao's the one who pursues the psych evaluations that cause him to start evaluating himself. Misao, which brings up the big question, which is a big issue we know in Japan. We got the numbers on it, which is that Japanese women do not just come up and start talking to you. We know that. I'm not saying this is a hate.
Has that ever happened to you before?
I've never been to Japan. I'm just saying we have the data to know that that doesn't happen. And anytime I'm watching an anime where the relationship is opened by the woman, and I'm not saying this to be sexist, I'm saying this because mathematically the Japanese government is on my side in saying that this is a problem.
The NHK fabricated information.
This anime is a fabrication of the NHK.
No, the NHK is real.
Because your life isn't, your ruinations are actually, your apple crumble was delicious. We all lied.
I mean, so I definitely understand a little bit of what you're saying, right? But I think that stuff like that kind of leans into some of the deeper themes of the show, right? As far as this, some people, life happens to you. Some people, life happens for you, right? Do you understand what I mean when I say that?
Yeah.
I feel like you're so. The thing about Sato is, life happens to him. Because if life happened for him and he kind of had that mindset about things, he would be the type of person that would be in the situation he's in. So instead of him pursuing these things that are going to help him, he just got lucky and ended up getting in these situations that were beneficial. Instead of just creating those situations for himself, right? Which leads into the deeper parts of him just not wanting to fix things for himself and needing the help of others.
Which, all right, and this is me drawing a compare. And, I hate doing this thing of being like, this is better than this. I hate when you tell someone I like Fire Force, and they're like, Bleach is better. And you're like, what the fuck's wrong with your...
Blood War is going crazy.
And you're just like, what's going on with your brain, dude? Just, hold two thoughts at once, man. You can like grilled cheese and apple pie.
You can't walk and eat ice cream at the same time. You have to do one or the other.
Ice cream spaghetti's better. It's just... Yeah,
spaghetti is better.
It's a weird compare, but I think Silent Voice specifically tackles a lot of these specific themes, and it does a better job of what's the main girl in Silent Voice, the mute one? I think it does a better job of laying out a scenario where it's like, I'm a loser. Hey, you want to be like losers together? Versus...
You got to keep watching the show, bro.
Misao seems like a girl with a good head on her shoulders, and...
You got to keep watching the show, bro.
When you are cleaning...
bro.
When you are cleaning up a nigga's child porn...
Look, bro. You got to keep watching the show, because I'm telling you...
I'm sticking around.
Some stuff, like, I really want to have these conversations with you, because there's some certain things you learn about her. Or at least, it's not explicitly said, but there's enough subtext that's shown in the anime where you're like, oh, okay. I just gotta you gotta tell me when you finish so we can
I know I might end up looking like a nincompoop here, and it
makes
sense. This might be ReZero season 2 all over again, where I talk all this shit and I say that Subaru sucks, and then episode 7 of season 2 hits, and a bunch of assholes come at me on Twitter and say you don't know shit about shit. And
They're right. I was one of them.
I'm open to that happening. I'm just because I hate when people just get things in anime. I hate when it's like you got hit by an arrow or a bolt of lightning.
Oh, trust me, something's about to happen where you're just like, oh.
But Sato, insofar as where I'm at in the anime, Sato has just been getting things. He's just been getting a lot.
Don't worry.
He's just been having people be unusually chill with him. And I don't think you're allowed to get... Dude, episode 2 is wild. Episode 2 is like Goblin Slayer episode 1 levels of having to explain myself. Having to walk it back.
Look,
have to be like,
hold
listen,
on,
anime's
hold
not
on,
like this, baby.
Listen.
Anime's not
it's
like
not
this.
my fault. Any anime before 2012, right? There was a high chance you were going to encounter a scene that just wouldn't make any sense if somebody just walked in and saw you watching it. Okay? It's very... You know this.
Yeah, but...
You know this. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I gave you some type of warning, but you know what? It's on me for not being like, yeah, by the way, this dude's a horrible person. You probably shouldn't watch with anybody else in the room. Next time, I'll be more upfront. One, I will say, Demon King Damio, perfect girlfriend show.
Okay. I'm watching Kaguya-sama.
That was a lie. It's not. Oh. You're going to watch that show, and the first episode, you're going to have to explain yourself.
Oh, it's insane.
I might start doing this on purpose and just suggesting anime and giving you no context.
Maybe it's called Interspecies Reviewer.
It's the best.
You're into biology, right? Yeah, let's fucking...
Redo of Healer is about this dude that goes back in time,
It's... It caught...
it caught you off guard.
It literally... I thought internally... I'm like, this is outrageous. Internally, I'm like, it's hilarious. This is so bizarre. He's literally... It's 5 minutes of screen time devoted to jerking off.
Yes.
Jerking it.
Yes.
Stacking the tissue.
Yes. I'm telling you. Look, and the thing about it is... There's no...
And I respect it. I'm like, get as many in a day as you can.
Well, I don't respect it because... I respect it because...
But dude, my girl's...
It's real. I respect it because it's real, and it's not like something that's that far out of the realm of possibility for someone who's shut off from the rest of society, doesn't talk to anyone, is always inside of their own head, and has no other ways to cope with life.
His whole, seeing all of the women as, different like spices in the cabinet. Like,
No, that's real. No, he was accurate on
He's
that.
like, oh, Stephanie, she's sporty, but like, you know, Jezebel, she's. I was like, this guy, this comes from the heart. Here's
the thing about that, right? That I think is also interesting, because when I think I rewatched the show, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, right? And that particular point right there, where he starts talking about women as like spices and stuff like that, and he starts, what's the word?
He wants like a collection of.
Well, no, he starts symbolizing. No, like
idolizing.
No, it's like when you make them into objectifying.
Oh,
when he starts objectifying them and not seeing them as human beings, right? When you get to the point where you're just beating your meat all the time for that amount of time, that many times a day, your brain is naturally just going to see these things as like things instead of people, right? And I think that was a pretty accurate representation of what happens to your brain whenever you start having these these behavioral patterns that aren't healthy for your brain. But by doing that many times in one day cannot be good for your prefrontal cortex. I'm just be honest with you.
Unless it like wraps back around and makes you like have psychic powers or something.
No, that's not. but you
maybe you gotta spank it like 100 times in one day. Maybe that's the number to unlock the secret.
Y'all see this right now?
To open the gate.
I'm trying to have like a serious conversation. This nigga's talking about opening a gate with your cum. That's crazy.
So in a more meta sense, to not get into who we are or whatever, but we are state alchemists. We are
dogs of the government.
That's
actually pretty accurate.
We are
state alchemists.
This is a show about game devs.
Oh yeah, we are game devs. Yeah. I'd be forgetting.
I'd be forgetting too.
I was actually working on a game last night.
But yeah, and that part of it is fun.
So that's why I like Yamazaki's character so much.
Yeah, the game dev aspect of it, and I'm like, telling my girlfriend like, "Ooh, this is
that's me.
That's me. I've got a body pillow with my favorite princess on it."
So so here's the thing about Yamazaki, right? I think that Yamazaki is a perfect foil for Sato. Let me frame it like this, right?
All right.
Despite the fact that Yamazaki is kind of in the same situation where he's like hikikomori to himself, doesn't talk to anybody, he at least has a goal that he's working towards. There's things that he wants to achieve that he's making steps to do, right?
Yeah, he's got a girl in mind.
Exactly. But the difference between him and Sato is Sato has nothing. Sato is empty. Sato is just chilling just to chill, right? Yamazaki's like, yeah, I don't like anybody. I don't like hanging out with people. You know, talking to different people is kind of like something that I don't enjoy. But I want to make games. That is my dream. So he, instead of doing nothing and spending his time just wasting away, beating his meat 60 times a day,
which he's probably still doing.
Well, yeah, but
he's only doing it 40 times a day.
But he's also like working on a game and games that he wants to create. Like he's working towards something, right? So it shows the differences between like, yeah, you can be in the situation that Sato is in, but you can be in that situation while also moving forward and not being a complete degenerate.
When he gives the speech about why he wants to make a porn game, I can't deny. I was like, I've given that exact speech.
I think as a game developer, everybody's kind of had that speech, and we're like, you're in a Discord call with all your boys. You're like, guys, it'd be a good idea. And
you know what? I think I'm gonna actually try to change the world. I think I'm gonna, guys, I've been fucking around a lot, but I think I'm gonna try to actually help people.
But I think like 2 years ago, I had that exact conversation with my boys.
It's good. Listen, it's not a bad anime.
You get a lot of good money.
I just can't fathom this.
You can't fathom this being a real person?
No. I know this is a real guy, and I almost can't believe the honesty of the show. Well, this is the type of thing that, like, the guy who wrote, like, American Psycho, I'm sure every woman who dated him...
It was actually a girl who wrote that.
American Psycho?
Yeah. It was a woman.
You're positive on that?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't have my... You can check it on your phone. I don't have my phone.
I'll look that up, because okay. But it's... Whoever wrote that, whoever dated them after they wrote that, was definitely, like, looking over their shoulder. So they're like, this person might be, like, a fucking insane person, And so I'm kind of like, I can't believe this guy wrote, because, the main character it's got the same name as the author of the book the anime is based off of. Not the director of the anime who oversaw it, but the book it's written by, the novel it's based off of.
Matsuhiko Takamoto? He did the manga, but there's a book.
There's a book, and the author is Tatsuhiko Takamoto. Our main guy's name is Tatsuhiko Takamoto in the show.
I thought his name was Sato.
It's
I think it's the last name, Sato Takamoto, or something like that.
He calls himself Tat-chan because his last name is definitely Tatsuhiko in the show.
Okay.
He calls himself Tat-chan. Yeah.
So I'm actually curious. I'm pretty sure, but I don't want to be inaccurate. But I do agree with your point that it's like it's so honest to a point where you're like, how are they getting away with this?
Brett Easton Ellis.
Is that a girl?
That's a dude.
Are you sure?
Okay.
I'm just trying to check out the bases to make sure.
Oh no, you get me. Yes, it's this dude.
Nah, that's not.
And women had to date him after he wrote about a woman getting a rat shoved in her pussy.
What's wrong with that?
If you read the book, it's more fucked up than the movie.
But I think that the honesty is what makes it such a beautiful show, right?
Yeah, because I mean,
what other anime do you know are that honest about the types of behaviors that you exhibit when you're isolated from everyone else and you're just sad, down on your luck, down on yourself? Like what other piece of media have you found that is that honest about the behaviors you're going to exhibit, about the thoughts that are going to enter your brain, and about the things you're going to rationalize in your head? Am I wrong? Like, am I wrong?
No. This anime does go hard in the paint on like the fan. Like we're gonna really look at this fucked up guy's inner fantasies, and we're gonna spend maybe
it's
a little too
long on it.
A little too long. Like the point might have been made in the first episode when he tried to take the skirt off the model doll. And we might not have needed to keep touching on it every episode.
So the thing that
every panty shot, because there's I think at least a panty shot every episode of like a woman who does like the wind
actually
blows,
I think that is accurate.
A girl who does not want her pussy being seen has her pussy seen, and the main character just starts licking his lips, and I'm like,
what's wrong with this dude?
Every episode.
So it's the because I've been around those types of people before, right? And if you've been around the type of stuff they talk about and the type of thoughts that like you hear, like express is like, yeah, this is pretty accurate. And it's like things you think in your head, he just put it into an anime. And I was like, why would he like? It's
these people are
and
real.
It's not. These people are real, and that's the part that's like, it's both scary and I think beautiful at the same time, where it's like, yeah, this is like an honest depiction of these types of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you see animal abuse or someone being super racist or fucked up or like child abuse in a movie, and you're like, it's not that I don't think it happens, I just don't want to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, so I saw a movie recently, Sound of Freedom, and it was a similar thing where it's like what it was about. Like obviously it's something that happens, but like seeing stuff like that,
it's a sex trafficking movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Like seeing that happen, you're kind of like, oh my goodness. Like I don't want to see, like this is real. This actually happens. But like seeing this right now, it's like unnerving. It makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's like that Jared Fogle doc.
Oh my goodness.
I think it's Dark Matter. I'll tell you what.
I'm not watching that.
All right, so we've got. Do we want to? You're telling me I can't really get into the depths of the character Misao. She's a back half of the series character. She's gonna have to be in the part 2 of this to like really flesh out who she is.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things you kind of can guess where it's like you kind of understand the reasons why she wants to help Sato. It's not because she actually wants to help him. It's because she wants to feel better about herself. But you don't really know why until the latter half of the show.
Okay. Yeah, it is a good show. The music is good.
The music is really good.
The music is very good. The intro song is dope. And I mean, honestly, the intro would be dope if I wasn't having to like look at the butts and the tits flapping on the screen and then look over and be like, you're like your girl's sitting right there. She's just like, she has consumed like 4 anime ever, and like 2
why
of them.
Why would you show her that? Why would
2 of them? Look, I've had to be like, listen.
I'm just saying, why after episode 2 would you keep watching?
Because I had to power through it for this episode. For this recording, I was like, baby, I gotta watch this show. And she's like, that's fine, I'll watch it with you. And
oh, wait, was this today?
This was yesterday and whatnot. But I just like it's
yeah. Dude, don't watch it. for her sake. Like, I don't care about what happens to you. For her sake, do not watch the show with her. Like, as a new anime fan, that's not what you want to start on. Like, by the time I watched this show, I had already seen at least like 70 to 50 different anime. So I was already invested at that point. So I was like,
Sure, it felt like I had like, I don't know. Felt like I had like French people come visit me, and I took them to MLK Boulevard in Baltimore, and I was like, "This is what America's like."
That's a horrible representation. And so it's like when somebody walks into the room and like you're watching a fighting anime, it's cool, and all of a sudden like the big titty scene comes out of nowhere when somebody walks in. It's like the whole show.
Right, like she sees Nami's swinging honkers in One Piece, and she's like, "Are they all sexualizing?" And seconds before I click play on this show, I'm like, "No, baby, they're not. They're not all like that. They're not all like that.
Bro,
There's some of these have like."
To be a fly on the wall for that conversation would have been hilarious.
I'm like, baby, like Attack on Titan. You know, no one really has time for sex in that show. It's like such a busy universe that everyone's just trying to stay alive. There's not really a lot of emphasis placed on
sexy time.
We don't got time. There's no time.
Well, Gene seems to focus. He's the one that focuses the most on it. Everybody in the show.
Like you got Mob, you got fucking
One Punch Man.
Yeah, I get so many shows where I'm like, baby, these don't get
So,
sexy fucky. Dr. Stone doesn't no sexy fuckiness
if
in
you
that.
If you want a show that I think she would like that has a really good and honest portrayal of women in anime, especially like strong women who are actually like well characterized and not just manic pixie dream girls, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh yeah, you know we were talking about my roommate told me to tell her to watch that, and I'm like,
She should, because it's like one of the few anime where the female characters are actually well written, instead of just like some romantic interest for the main character or some like manic pixie dream girl who doesn't know what's going on, who's always getting saved.
Yeah, or it's. I just don't like when it's like I met this girl and she fucking pulled. Like, she was like a bolt of lightning into my life, because it's like, dog, like.
Wait.
It doesn't happen like that. You don't just have a woman knock on your door and fix your life.
What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about Welcome to the NHK.
Yeah, I'm talking about manic pixie dream girls in general. I'm talking about Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind. I'm talking about 500 Days of Summer.
I don't like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's a love-hate thing with me. Like, I love it, but I also hate it at the same time.
Yeah, it's just life.
I don't think the ending is very realistic.
Life is about being active and proactive, not about passivity. And
maybe you got to finish the show.
And it's interesting to me that a show that is ostensibly everything beyond Misao about the show I find incredibly realistic. Incredibly so. Like his friend's love of this particular princess, the figurine collecting. Honestly, all of the horniness in the show is spot on, and that's why
that's what makes so. And like,
but
it's disgusting, but it's like it's not untrue. It's not inaccurate.
But you are not gonna find a girl who will clean your porn off the floor.
Hold on. If you build one. No, but that whole scene, because like there's so much about that scene and a few other scenes that are gonna happen that you're gonna be like, bro, what? Like, it's gonna confuse you a lot, especially once you get to the end. But I will say that the point you made about how passivity isn't how you. What did you say again? Like, passivity is...
Life isn't about being a passive. It's about being active. Like, you're going to sit... You have to make the changes you want in your life.
That right there is going to show up in a few episodes. I don't know exactly the episode it happens in, but I know what happens. And when it happens, you're either going to text me or you're going to call me and be like, Zeke. And if you don't, that's up to you. But there's a scene. Something is going to happen. And it's... Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, I'd love... for this guy to get a redemption arc. I'm thinking here. There's some good redemption arcs out there, man.
I will tell you.
Jaime Lannister starts Game of Thrones fucking his sister in the ass. Then he ends it. And when you get to the end, you're like, this show sucks. This show sucks shit through a sieve. But you know what? Jaime Lannister
had a redemption.
Kind of cool guy.
I finished the show, but the realistic aspects of the show don't stop. Okay.
Oh, so he crashes and burns like a real failure would. Oh, you know what?
I don't know.
I'll learn.
I don't know. You'll learn. I'm not, because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's going to get really interesting once you get to the end of the show. Because there's certain things that happen and certain characters that change, certain characters that do things that you won't expect him to do, and you're like, oh, and it hits Sato in a very specific part of his path.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, don't watch it with your girlfriend though. I don't. Anybody who's planning on watching Welcome to the NHK, make sure it's a dark room, doors locked, nobody can see what you're watching.
Have
It is a weird show.
papers,
No,
like a box of
don't.
tissues
No,
ready, and your favorite action figure with the skirts taken
don't.
off.
No, do not listen to him.
It's fine.
Do not,
She's gone. It's a safe space now,
bro.
Let's get them hogs out.
Oh my goodness. But how would you rate the show as of now? Seeing the first 11 episodes.
So, just some context for the scale. I'm not a slice of life guy.
Oh, you should have told me that before I.
Hey, you should have told me this was gonna damage my relationship.
Listen, if you're an anime fan and you don't think anime is gonna damage your relationship at some point, stop watching anime.
I was a fool.
That's your fault. That's on you.
But honestly, like, music is great. The art is very good for the time.
The art was actually created by. Oh, crap. He did Serial
Studio
Experiments
Gonzo.
Lane.
Oh, Serial Experiments Lane.
The dude who did the art for Serial Experiments Lane did the art for Welcome to NHK.
Fuck yeah, yeah. It's a Gonzo Studio, and
Gonzo Studio.
It's very good for the time.
Yeah, they did Hellsing as well.
Yeah, people are really spoiled by how good anime is now.
It didn't used to be that way.
And for the time, for 2006, this show's honestly really good looking for what it is.
Because some of the anime you would see from the 2000s would just be hot garbage. And like you'd start the show and you wouldn't be able to finish it because it was just that unwatchable.
We're watching fucking Mare, or Shadow Skill, or what's that fucking one? The guy with the sword and he puts the crystals in it and it turns into different swords.
I think Samurai 7 was pretty good. Samurai 7 had some really good animation for the time.
Some good stuff out there. But yeah, I'd give this, like, it's... For what this show is trying to do, I gotta say, if you're into slice of life, and if you are, like... Did a camera just make a noise? I don't think it did. I think it was something outside.
I don't know.
But if you're into slice of life... This is a very good slice of life. The friendships are very accurate.
Yes.
This show is grimy and grubby, but real dudes are. Especially when we're alone and we think no one's watching. We think God's got his eyes closed.
But that's all, I'm telling you. Like, as much as I agree with you, this character is a disgusting, horrible dude. But it's like, it's so eerily accurate to what actually goes on. It just makes you want to keep watching, and you're also just like, dude, like how. Like, because I haven't seen a show this accurate since.
He's definitely a dirtbag in a way that's kind of endearing. My biggest example that I feel is close, honestly, and he's even more comedic, is Reagan from Mob Psycho 100. Because
really,
he's a dirtbag. He's really kind of a piece of shit, but. He's a perfect example to me of a guy who's kind of a piece of shit, but that you would still hang out. You'd still like find yourself like it's like you invited Reagan to the barbecue, and it's like we're friends, you know. Like he's the perfect example.
There's another character for this too. Who's another one? Oh man, forget it. I think that the series is like an 8 or a 9 if this is what you're going for. My big issue with it, and I almost don't want to fault it, because it's like every anime made before like Gurren Lagann, I want to say, had like pacing issues. Yeah. Like almost any anime, you'd be watching like fucking Gintama, and you're like, all right, let's speed it up. That's too much comedy.
Right, okay, I get it. Like, yeah, we're like Bakemonogatari or whatever. Like, I get it. We're like trying to like.
One Piece has a lot of pacing issues, in my opinion.
We're trying to like sit in the moment. Like, it'll be a character, coming out, and you'll see them like take out the cup, take out the tea, put the tea bag in the cup, pour the hot water on the tea.
Like, do we need to really see this whole scene?
And it's like, I get the guy who drew this was like super proud of himself. Super proud of himself for drawing it. It was a very well rendered bag of tea you had there, but guys, the post, like, I cite My Hero as being the show that figured out pacing, that solved pacing in anime.
I don't think they have any filler.
It's
like one episode.
It's the biggest thing that My Hero's contributed to anime as a whole. Is it's basically the show that figured out the pace that an anime should move at, to me. And so I do find myself at this show sometimes being like, I get it. This guy's like a debased pervert.
So
I'm inherently all right, hurry it up. Let's get to the intrigue. And I kept thinking the NHK, I kept expecting the show to have a turn on me where the NHK was real. And
There might be.
I went into this thinking like, this guy's going to find out that he's correct.
Well,
and he's going to uncover. I'm already
have
too
you seen
far.
Have you seen Steins Gate?
I've seen the beginning of Steins Gate.
Me too.
It.
I think the next one we should do after this is Steins Gate.
How many episodes is that?
I think about 24 as well.
Okay, that's manageable, but
it's gonna be a while for me.
Maybe we should do redo of Healer. It's 10, right? It's 10 or 12.
I'm not reviewing that show.
Come on.
I am not reviewing that show. No, I am not doing that. I'm not doing that. Imagine if the end of Berserk was every episode.
Berserk don't end, baby.
I'm talking about the anime, the 1990s anime.
We're gonna do it. Maybe not next. We'll decide what we're doing next at the end of the next news episode.
Before we leave off, I would just like to leave you with this.
What's your score for this?
Oh, I'm saying 9 easily.
This is a 9 or a 10 for you?
9, 10 easily. And one thing I will say to think about while you're going into the next half of the show: why is Sato alive?
Because he hasn't killed himself yet. Which is strange for a Japanese man.
Exactly. Why is Sato? If you think about that for the rest of the show as it's going on, it'll give you a better perspective on what's going to happen.
Okay. All right.
You're doubting me, but yeah, have I been wrong so far?
I'll make time for this panty sniffer, and that is what he is.
That's true.
It is just. This is sort of like when a guy who runs over 12 people goes to jail and people get into a big debate on should we have the death penalty? Should we have life? Should you have in Sweden the maximum penalty is 20 years or so? And really it's that maybe it's an American thing, but I feel on the whole that you can hit a threshold where people don't care how once you kill 2 people, it's almost you can't do enough good.
Yeah.
You can't do enough good to have anyone ever think that you're not just trying to make good on the fact that you ran over some kids.
That's fair.
And this guy throws himself so hard into that territory so early on, so quickly.
You get no time. You get no time to kind of like his character because you start to in the first episode, then towards the end you're kind of okay, it's a little weird. Second episode, nah.
If we had episode 9, Misao finds a photo he took that day, and then we have a flashback where he has to reveal that he did that, but he's I'm not that guy anymore. But this show he's licking his lips, he's mincing his fingers, he's oh, let's go to the kiddie pool. It's almost 4:00, and I'm just this. It's a hard walk back.
You're not supposed to like his character. That's why.
At the end, you're not supposed to.
I don't know about the end. I'm talking about where we are right now. I'm purposely leaving out things I feel about the show as a whole, except for my rating. My rating is the whole show 9. Now. You're not supposed to like his character, okay? I think it's been quickly established. You are supposed to not like this man, and that the point of you asking why are all these good things happening to him, even though he's a horrible person and he doesn't seek these things out. Keep thinking about that thought. Very important.
All right, if he's #blessed, I'm gonna be furious, but I'm eager to see where it goes. We'll be back for part 2.
We'll be back.
We will. Anything else we got to say before we go?
I don't think so, unless 1,000 Year Blood War has been released, the next part. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Animation is beautiful. Whole show is beautiful. I'm wearing a Kawaii Creation shirt. I know we talked about this in the Bull Matsuri episode. I don't know when that's going up, but when it does, this is the part I was talking about. This part of the shirt glows in the dark. Pretty freaking cool. Kawaii Creations. Dope place.
Overall, though, yeah, I'm liking the show. We got the news show coming out still.
Sometime this week.
Yeah.
Probably.
And think here, what is all the boilerplate? This show can be listened to without ads or YouTube chicanery.
On Spotify?
We're on Spotify, Apple, Pocket Cast.
Pocket Cast? I've never heard of Pocket Cast.
Wherever podcasts can be found. It's also available on YouTube.
Instagram. Well, not the whole thing, but clips.
Yes, and do all of the liking, tell people about it.
Tell no one.
If you enjoy what's going on here,
don't listen to him. Listen to me.
And what else is there?
Welcome to the NHK.
Yeah. We're horny.
No. I said, started how we ended it how we started it.
All right. Well, that's it. Catch y'all later.
But yeah, I didn't know you hustled with your girlfriend, bro. That is a horrible idea.
You got it all in there?
I